Part 2. The First Colonial Period, 1492–1607. Imagine you're standing on the deck of an old wooden ship, the waves roaring beneath your feet, and before you is a hazy horizon, where land is just a faint strip between the deep blue ocean. This is 1492, and you are one of the sailors accompanying Christopher Columbus, the man with eyes burning with ambition, believing he's on his way to find a shorter route to Asia by sailing west. But when the ship docked at an island in the Caribbean, it was not the bustling markets of China or India that appeared, but a completely new world, a land unknown to Europeans. This was the opening moment of the first colonial period of the United States, a chapter of history full of adventure, discovery, and conflicts that shaped the future. When Columbus set foot on the island he called San Salvador, he saw the indigenous people, the Taino, with tanned skin, shell jewelry, and hospitality that surprised him. They brought gifts such as fruits, feathers, and even gold, the metal that made Columbus's eyes light up. But don't let the glamour of the story deceive you. Columbus's arrival was not just an expedition, it was the beginning of an invasion. The Taino, with their rich culture and complex society, would not have known that these trips carried not only explorers but also disease, violence, and the ambition to seize. In the following decades, the European powers, Spain, France, England, and the Netherlands began a race for control of the New World. Spain led with conquerors like Hernan Cortes and Francisco Pizarro, but in the north, where the United States would become, the colonial story truly began with the English. Imagine other wooden ships crossing the Atlantic, carrying men and women with dreams of wealth, religious freedom, or simply a new life. But North America was not the paradise they imagined. Dense forests, harsh winters, and indigenous peoples with unfamiliar languages and customs made everything challenging. In 1607, a group of about 100 Englishmen landed on a marshy area in Virginia, naming it Jamestown after King James I. Imagine the scene. Men in tight armor, sweating under the sun, chopped trees, built shelters, and tried to survive in a strange land. They were nobles, mercenaries, and gold seekers, but almost none of them knew how to farm or hunt. The first few months were a nightmare. Starvation swept through the colony, disease raged, and clashes with the Powhatan people, the dominant native tribe in the area, made the situation even more tense. Among the settlers was a prominent figure, John Smith, a seasoned mercenary with a personality that was both daring and arrogant. Imagine him with his thick beard and sharp eyes, commanding exhausted men, pushing them to work and negotiating with the Powhatan for food. The story of Pocahontas, daughter of the Powhatan chief, saving John Smith's life has become legendary, though the truth was probably far more complex. Pocahontas, a smart and curious young woman, became the fragile bridge between two worlds. But peace did not last. Cultural misunderstandings, land disputes, and English greed strained the relationship. Jamestown almost collapsed. The winter of 1609–1610, known as the Starving Time, pushed the colony to despair. It is said that some settlers ate grass, tree bark, and even dug up graves for food. But then a glimmer of hope appeared, not gold, but tobacco. John Ruff, another settler, experimented with growing West Indian tobacco, and it quickly became Virginia brown gold. Imagine vast tobacco fields with settled and indentured laborers, including the first enslaved people from Africa, working under the scorching sun. Tobacco not only saved Jamestown, but also transformed it into a commercial hub, attracting more settlers and ushering in a new era. But let's just pause for a moment and look from the Powhatan perspective. For them, the newcomers were not heroic explorers, but invaders. Their land was taken, forest was cleared, and diseases like smallpox, to which the natives had no immunity, began to sweep through. Chief Powhatan, a seasoned strategist, initially tried to appease them, but his patience gradually ran out. Small skirmishes occurred, foreshadowing larger conflicts in the future. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the French and Dutch also began to set foot in North America. The French established outposts in Quebec, trading furs with tribes like the Algonquin, while the Dutch built New Amsterdam, the precursor to New York, as a trading center. But it was the English, with Jamestown, who laid the foundation for what would become the United States. This was a difficult beginning, with grand dreams tested by harsh realities. The settlers not only faced nature and the natives, but also themselves. Internal conflicts, greed, and the question of whether they could build a new society in this land. As the sun set over the Virginia swamps, the faint lights from Jamestown shelters symbolized hope and perseverance. But in the shadows, the Powhatan watched, wondering what fate awaited their land and people. This was the early colonial period, a chapter full of adventure, conflict, and the first seeds of a nation. But ahead, greater challenges awaited, as ships continued to bring more people, ideas, and new conflicts to this shore.